Welcome back to Winter Day 24 of the Stardew Valley Min-Max and 100% Perfection Guide. Today, we will be finishing the Danger in the Deep quest by making it to floor 120 in the upgraded mines, but before we continue with that, we must take care of a bunch of tasks around town, including giving out gifts, making some stops at shops, and most importantly, cycling our Starfruit wine kegs. Year 2 is right around the corner, which means in the next few upcoming days we need to prepare our farm for all the seeds we will plant on the first day of spring, but we will focus more on that next time. For now, let's focus on Winter Day 24, where we are just finishing cycling some of our machinery, and we did craft some new crystallariums, and we will place some jades in there as well. This will be nice for on staircase Sundays, trading our jades for even more staircases to help us with more Skull Cavern dives, because we will probably be doing some more of those during year 2. We also have the greenhouse here where our fruit trees are grown, but more importantly, some of our ancient fruit has grown, so we will be putting all of our ancient fruit in the seed maker so that we can get more ancient seeds for year 2. We also have some coffee beans that have grown, and of course we'll continue cycling those in our coffee kegs. Our trees on the farm have also grown, so we will go ahead and eat a survival burger for increased wood and go ahead and chop all of these trees down. I will also tend to the mushroom cave here, go ahead and collect those, and then once that's done we'll go ahead and skip over cutting down the rest of these trees as well as planting them, and somehow I managed to plant these seeds in a very, very bad fashion. Of course, you want one space in between them for the most part, but I kind of tried to do it too fast and ended up doing a very sloppy job of planting those seeds down, but that's okay. After cycling some more things and getting stuff organized and grabbing everything we need to bring with us, we can head out to the town, and our first stop is at Marnie's. You will notice that I have grabbed a whole bunch of gift items for a variety of NPCs. Mainly, I just looked at the NPCs that I have low friendship with and grabbed a gift for them, and if we run into them, we run into them. If we don't, we don't. I did end up getting a later start out of leaving the farm than I had originally planned for, so we might not run into everybody that I had planned on, but we will see what happens. We did give Marnie and Shane both a gift there, and we go to Leia's to give her a gift, but we are first met with a cutscene, and this is her 2-heart cutscene. We will be met with a dialogue option where we can choose between the response of "it's the same with people" or "I actually prefer the look of raw, unadulterated wood," and both of those responses will have no effect on friendship, while if we ask for the creepy "may I have a kiss" response, we will lose 100 points of friendship, and even if we gain those friendship points back, this will make us never be able to see Leia's 8-heart event, which is interesting. Once we have chosen one of these first two options, we'll be met with another dialogue option where we can suggest that she has an art show in town or sell her art on the internet. And depending on the choice here, it'll affect the 8-heart cutscene, and it'll be a different 8-heart cutscene depending on what choice we choose, although both will have no effect on friendship. After that cutscene, we enter Leia's cottage once again, where we are met with her 4-heart cutscene, and both her 2 and 4-heart cutscenes can be activated by entering her cottage whenever she is home. We are met with another dialogue option, and the first two options of "no, it had to be done" or "no, and your ex sounds like an idiot" are both okay to choose. They have no effect on friendship, while the last 3 options of "no, but you would have been better staying off in the city," or "yeah, a little," or "yeah, but it's natural to care about yourself first," will all have minus 20 points of friendship with Leia. After that, we can finally enter Leia's house, where we do have an iridium quality goat cheese for her, which is a loved gift, so hopefully that'll get us a good amount of friendship points with her. The last time we did give her a birthday gift, which put us at like 4 hearts, so we should be making decent progress with Leia now. We also had a hot pepper for Mary Louise, which was a loved gift, and now we're entering the town, where we are met with Clint's 6-heart cutscene. This cutscene can only be triggered by entering the town from Cindersap Forest, which is the direction we entered from, and it has to be between 9 a.m. and 6:30 p.m., and will only be triggered if we have already seen Clint's 3-heart cutscene. Additionally, this cutscene is impossible to trigger if we have married Emily or have seen her 8 heart or 10 heart cutscene. It is interesting how a romance between Clint and Emily is hinted at, although Emily can be romanced herself, but that actually was not always the case. When the game first came out, both Shane and Emily could not be romanced, and that was actually added in one of the early updates. After that, we do head over to the beach where we give Elliot a pomegranate, a loved gift, and then also forage the beach, mainly just for the coral here. The coral is needed in beach warp totems, and since island warp totems are so expensive, the best way right now to get to the island is using a beach warp totem to get to the beach, and then just walk to the boat, or take our horse of course to go a little bit faster. Then after harvesting our crab pots and rebaiting them, which is the main reason we stopped at the beach, we still need the lobster and crab, so hopefully we'll get them soon. But after that, we do head on to Clint's, where we do have a gift for him. We're almost at 10 hearts with him, just about one more to go. And while we're here, we will also open a magma geode and then an artifact trove just to get a pearl. And then after that, the main reason we came here is to sell 9 iridium bars to get around 15,000 G total, and 5,000 of that will be spent at Robin's getting a fish pond, and then the other 10,000 will be used at the Statue of Uncertainty in the sewers. Speaking of that, we are heading to the sewers now, and while we're there, we will drop off a pumpkin, a loved gift to Krobus, and we should be at 10 hearts with him fairly soon, just a few more gifts to go, and then we can buy the void pendant for him. We will now pay 10,000 G to activate the Statue of Uncertainty and pick the farming professions, and rather than having the agriculturalist like we have now, where all crops grow 10% faster, we will now change that to the artisan bonus, which gives 40% sell bonus on all artisan goods. So of course we want that for our Starfruit wine. It'll more than enough pay for itself. And after we sell all of our Starfruit wine and other artisan goods, we will return to the Statue of Uncertainty, pay it another 10,000 G, so we can switch back to the agriculturalist profession, which gives us 10% faster crop growth. And of course we want that before year 2. When we plant all of our seeds for year 2, we definitely want that 10% grow bonus. After that, we head over to George and Evelyn's house and give them both a beet. It's just a liked gift for George, but of course it is a loved gift for Evelyn. And the beet is just a vegetable, and vegetables are usually liked by most NPCs, so it is a very cheap gift item to give away. After our trip to the town, we will be heading right back to the farm. We will, of course, stop back at the bus stop later to cycle all of our Starfruit wine kegs, but for now, we'll check the mail, get all of our items organized here, and then grab some other items that we might need to take with, including some items that we need to construct a fish pond. But first, we will head up to the north area up here by the spa and the railroad, and along the way we do get a dinosaur egg, which is interesting, from an artifact spot. And real quick, we will just harvest all of these oak resin tappers, and also we have 2 additional tappers to add to 2 trees that did not have a tapper. So after that, we'll also grab some pine tar that we have ready, and then we can head on down to Robin's. The horse cannot be accessed from that because it is a 1 wide gap, but that's okay. We make it into Robin's, and we will just construct our fish pond right away. We'll place it near the others, of course, although we don't want to place it above it anymore, so we will start going to the side. I accidentally place it with a 1 wide gap in between, as you'll see here, and I probably should have placed it directly flush next to the other fish ponds, but that's okay. Once we start doing some more organization around the farm, we'll be moving some buildings around, so I'll be able to move that a bit later once it's done. Robin won't actually start on that until the next day because tomorrow is a festival day, so she won't start on that until the 26th, so it probably won't even be ready until year 2, so we don't really have to worry about that right now, not that big of a deal. And after giving her 10 hardwood for a special quest, we will just head on back to the farm and then get some more stuff organized here, cycle some of our machinery, and now we will use that oak resin we collected to craft 41 new kegs. It looks like the oak resin is our limiting factor here, which is a good thing. That means we got more than enough wood to craft the kegs with. And we will go ahead and place them down now and put some new Starfruit while we collect the Starfruit wine. We did craft 41 kegs, and we do have currently 181 kegs. So this puts us at a new total of 222 kegs, so that's a pretty good amount right there. We will keep expanding this. We might actually fill the tunnel today, we'll see, because this part of the road is filled, and I will actually dig up 2 of these kegs right here in order to open up that new path. The town shortcut upgrade got that for us. I don't know how useful that one will be, since we have the minecarts to the mines and warp totems to get to the mountains anyway, so it might not be all that useful, but we shall see. If there is any shortcut that will be pretty useful, it'll be the one that leads us directly to the beach right below Leia's cottage. That one might be nice for checking the crab pots or getting to Ginger Island a little bit quicker from the boat, but we'll see. And we did indeed fill up this whole entire tunnel here, and over here I am going to try to dig up this keg that is blocked by the tunnel wall there, because I don't want to accidentally get confused there and not collect a Starfruit wine from that. And then we have a few kegs left over, so I'm just going to place them right here. There is a nice page on the Stardew wiki to refer to see exactly where NPCs won't mess with your objects, and you can safely place them outside of your farm. If you go to the Stardew wiki crafting page, scroll all the way down, and then see the subsection of crafted goods outside the farm, there are some nice screenshots that show you exactly where you can place items such as kegs outside of your farm. After cycling all of our Starfruit wine kegs, it is about 6:30 p.m., so we have 7.5 hours left to make it to floor 120 in the mines here to finish the Danger in the Deep quest, so hopefully we can make that happen. We might have to use a few crafted staircases to get down in just this one night, but we shall see. We are starting off on floor 91 here, where we do see a radioactive ore node, so of course I will always go for those, even though our main focus is to make it down as quick as possible. The radioactive ore nodes are always nice to go for, because that is a very rare ore that we can use a bit later to craft some interesting new objects with once we unlock some of the recipes from the Golden Walnut Room. And of course, before we unlock any of those recipes, we need to purchase them with key gems, and this quest right now that we're doing, the Danger in the Deep quest, will award 50 key gems, and we will need to decide what exactly we want to spend those on. At first, I was considering getting a bunch of pressure nozzles to place on my sprinklers for year 2, just to save on space for crops, but honestly, adding a pressure nozzle just increases the radius by 1, which is a very nice amount, but I don't think the problem is having an amount of iridium sprinklers. I think we can craft plenty of those, so I probably won't be placing pressure nozzles on my sprinklers for year 2, so I'll probably not worry about those. Same with the enrichers, we just need one of those to place on a sprinkler, and then place down our seeds, and then it'll automatically load the fertilizer, and then we can take it off, and then repeat that process. So hopefully we'll get one of those as a drop, because I do believe both the enricher and pressure nozzles can be dropped by enemies in the upgraded mines here. Another consideration is getting Pierre's missing stock list so we can purchase garlic seeds early, but year 2 is just around the corner, so I don't think that's a great idea, and that also costs 50 key gems, which is quite pricey. So more than likely, I will purchase some of the crafting recipes, which can include the heavy tapper, the hyper speed grow, and the deluxe fertilizer, and the hopper recipes. However, the recipe for the hopper costs 50 key gems, which is very expensive, and the hopper is not all that useful. It's more of a quality of life convenience thing, so we probably will skip over that and grab the other 3 recipes. The heavy tappers work twice as fast as normal tappers, so those could be useful in getting a whole bunch of oak resin, although they do cost a radioactive bar to craft, as well as 30 hardwood, which is rather pricey. And then with the hyperspeed grow, it increases crop growth speed by 33% as opposed to the deluxe speed grow's 25%, so there's a nice increase there, although it might not be worth it because it does cost radioactive ore for one of them, which can get a bit expensive, as well as 3 bone fragments and solar essence, but those ingredients aren't as worrisome. And then finally there is the deluxe fertilizer, which costs an iridium bar and 40 sap, which produces 5 of them, so that is also pretty pricey, although that might be nice for our ancient fruit because I don't know if we'll have enough space in our kegs to keg ancient fruit, but we will see. There is a whole lot of possibilities for buying stuff from the key shop and our year 2 setup, so I still need to plan all that out and think about that, but we shall see very soon when the time comes because year 2 is right around the corner. Back to the mines here, you will notice that I am using crafted staircases a bit frequently because we are running into quite a bit of floors that might just take such a long time to try to slay all the enemies and mine all the rocks, and we might not get a staircase quick enough, so I am trying to judge that accordingly and use a crafted staircase when needed. Like on this floor there are plenty of rocks and enemies to slay, so I should be fine, especially since there are some gold and some gems here like the ruby. I am very low on rubies, so I will go out of my way to get some rubies because we only have 7 spicy eels left, and of course rubies equals spicy eels, so I will try to collect those whenever I can. We are starting to run into some inventory space problems here. You'll notice it is very full, and I do have to decide to get rid of some items. I will try to blow up some rocks here, maybe slay the enemies to get a staircase down. We are getting a little bit unlucky on this floor, but it looks like we do not get one still, so I am just gonna use a crafted staircase to get down. I'm going to head up the elevator now since our inventory is full, skip over organizing that, and basically what I did was put in to the chest things that I'm pretty sure I wouldn't get more of, and then the things that I do have in my inventory right now are things that I will most likely get more of, so they will stack with each other, but we shall see. We might still run into some inventory space problems, but hopefully not too much. Another thing that you may have noticed, and that I probably should mention, is this time I'm not trying to speed up any of the footage because with the Savage Ring and all of our speed bonuses and then all of the inventory swapping, it can get a little bit overwhelming and just a whole lot of inventory flipping all at once. So what I tried to do this time is cut out a whole bunch of time spent in the inventory screens, and you might be surprised, like, how did you cut out time in the inventory when we still are seeing a whole bunch of time spent in the inventory? And mainly what I did is the time I spent thinking, where I would just have a blank inventory and not really be moving my cursor or moving items around or swapping rings. I just tried to cut that out as much as I could. You'd be surprised if you watched my live stream, you'd know this, but there is a whole bunch of time spent in the inventory just thinking, or since I was live streaming, I might have been explaining what I was doing or thinking about doing. But anyway, since I did cut out lots of footage spent in the inventory screen, there may be some odd skips in the footage or music or sound, but I do think having less inventory time outweighs that. Anyways, we have almost made it to floor 110, and then after that there's just 10 more floors to go, and you may notice that I am having a little bit of an easier time with these lava themed floors as opposed to the frozen or the jungle, and I do think that's mainly just because of the enemies here aren't all that bad. They are pretty easy to avoid, and it does seem like there are quite a few less enemies on these lava floors as opposed to like the jungle floors, which just spawn a whole lot of enemies with the spiders and all the mushrooms, and in addition to the putrid ghosts, which give you that nausea debuff, can be pretty devastating. And opposed to these floors, the debuffs you can get from the enemies aren't so bad. The Shadow Shaman can give you the Jinxed debuff, which only lasts for 8 seconds as opposed to the nausea's 2 minutes. Of course, nausea can be negated with the ginger like we saw last time, but still, it is pretty devastating if you aren't prepared. But the Jinx debuff decreases your defense by 8, which isn't really all that bad of a debuff since you can just heal to negate that. And then the more annoying debuff is from the Shadow Snipers. If they hit you, there's a chance they can inflict the Darkness debuff, which lasts for only 5 seconds though, so that's not too bad, but it basically makes your screen very dark and very hard to see anything, including all of the ore nodes, enemies, and staircases down. But most importantly, these enemies don't seem to have a whole lot of health. I'm usually able to use my hammer smash attack and then spam click the attack button, doing that combo to take them out pretty much right away. And that just makes it so much easier because we can use the napalm ring explosion to mine the rocks and also get the savage ring buff with the increased speed and just get from enemy to enemy and node to node a whole lot quicker, which just makes traversing these floors all that much easier. It does seem like we have come across a good amount of radioactive ore nodes, which is nice, but we seem to only be getting 1 or 2 or 3 ores per vein, which doesn't seem like a whole lot compared to like the other ore nodes. It seems like you get maybe 3 or 4 per vein, but I'm not so sure about that. Anyway, we just got hit by one of the shadow snipers, and you'll notice my screen went dark, so here's a nice example of that debuff, but as you can see, it wears off just after 5 seconds, which isn't really that big of a deal. Hopefully you had a good idea of what was on the map before you get hit by it, so you know what direction to head in, and you're not just left waiting for 5 seconds, because that can cost you a good amount of in-game time, so you just gotta be careful with that. And of course, not getting hit by them in the first place is even better, but sometimes they are a little bit tricky to avoid. But even when you get hit, as you can see, it's not all that big of a deal. Anyways, we are now on the final floor to traverse before we can get down to floor 120. And these floors always take a little bit longer, so I'm glad we are at 1:20 a.m. and have 40 in-game minutes left of the day. Now only 30, but that's okay. We should have no problem finding a ladder down. I will try to blow up the bat as well as the shadow shaman right here. We are having some inventory issues right here, so I'm just going to trash the bat wings. There's only 2 of them, so not that big of a deal. And I do encounter a problem here. You cannot hit enemies through rocks, and there was rocks in the way protecting that shadow shaman, but that's okay. We were able to mine the rocks, slay the shaman, and now head down to the final floor because there was a ladder apparently just waiting for us. And you will notice there is this interesting shrine right here, and it's disabled right now, so the next day the mines will revert back to the normal mines, but what we can do is head down to floor 120 here, use this shrine, and if we activate it, the mines the next day will turn into the upgraded mines, and then until we deactivate that shrine, they'll stay that way. So it is nice if we want to come back to the dangerous mines to farm some radioactive ore or some coal from all the mushrooms from the jungle floor. We will be spending the last moments of the day here deciding what items we want to pass out with to bring back to the farm, and with the minuscule amount of time left, we may slay a few mushrooms to get a little extra coal. That will bring us to the end of this day, and since we paid the Statue of Uncertainty today, we will switch our farming profession to artisan. Next time, we will hunt down ghosts for an ectoplasm, and then attend the Feast of the Winter Star Festival, so if you are looking forward to what's to come, please consider subscribing, and also feel free to leave a comment with anything you'd like to share. Perhaps let me know if you have any ideas or suggestions for the year 2 farm layout. As always, thank you for watching, and goodbye.